ocean waves at over 100 miles an hour. Tony Daly and Chris Peters man a boat called the Thunderbird, but they're having trouble.
What's going on? Honey, what's that noise? Is that air? I don't know. I can hear the engine.
There's a strange sound coming from the engine. Tony's the throttle man in the rear.
There was no sign of any fumes. We didn't know exactly what the problem was.
The noise is a mystery, but as long as the engine's still running, Tony and Chris aren't about to slow down.
You've got 1,000 horsepower sitting behind a bulkhead. The engine has a sound and it changes. And I would say the noise level was perhaps 20% higher.
What Tony doesn't know is that deadly carbon monoxide is leaking into the cockpit. And Chris, the pilot, is now unconscious. The Thunderbird is out of control. It rockets straight for a yacht at the edge of the course. Tony suddenly realizes the danger.
I realised there is no communication with Chris because we're supposed to be heading in one direction and we're probably sort of 40 or 50 degrees off of it.
But it's too late.
We tore the front of the yacht off. We actually took the anchor off the front of the yacht. That tore a 2-metre, 6-7 foot hole in the underside of the port side of the boat.
Finally, Tony cuts the engine. Chris sits lifeless.
I lean in to try and unstrap Chris, but because I've got my crash helmet on, there's not enough room to actually get myself into the cockpit.
Rescuers open the cockpit just in time. Chris gets air before the carbon monoxide kills him. Strangely, both racers owe their lives to the collision.
If we hadn't have hit the boat, I wouldn't have stopped racing the boat. And obviously the amount of carbon monoxide that Chris had actually taken into his body was almost at a level where you can't be resuscitated.
The crew of the Thunderbird doesn't get the trophy. But fortunately, they won their race against a toxic killer. Santiago, Chile. Political protesters riot in the streets. They target a police truck. The cops are ready to take on the thugs, but they don't expect this. As the door opens, a protester tosses a Molotov cocktail. Within seconds, the cab is in go. The officer acts quickly. He grabs the firebomb and launches it back. But it's not over. The cops take cover as rocks rain down. It's too much for the rookie. He's crippled with fear. A veteran officer tries to calm him down. Soon, the big guns arrive. Water cannons drown out the flamethrowers. The officers survived the mob's attack, thanks to one brave cop who took the best they could throw and fired it right back. Auburn, California. Dirt bike racers rip up the speedway. And the fiercest competitor of all is number 7, Eric Carrillo. They call him the Coyote. Tonight, Eric is focused on a short heat race. The Coyote howls into a slide, and then Eric flies into the air and comes down, right on his head. His 500-pound bike slams him in the face. The Coyote is out cold. It's bad. And what's worse, his mother saw it happen. She rushes in to check on her son.
I was really scared. He'd never crashed like that before. It's probably the worst crash I had ever seen Eric in.
She can only wait and watch as paramedics tend to Eric. Then, he sits up.
As I enter the corner, I hook up on a bad spot of the track, and it kind of makes me go in a direction I didn't want to go. I just remember kind of blocking myself from what was coming at me.
Eric's mother breathes a sigh of relief, but only for a moment. Incredibly, the Coyote wants to hop on another bike and keep racing.
That night I didn't want him to ride. I thought he took a pretty good hit, and I thought, let's go in the pits and just call it a night.
No matter what, I still wanted to get back on that bike.
Eric's mother knows she can't stop the Coyote. Tonight, she's just thankful she didn't lose him.
When the racer hit Eric and he flew through the air, I just thought that was the worst thing that ever happened.
You know, you're racing any sport, you're kind of putting your life on the line.
Coming up, a daredevil attempts a dangerous jump and gets smashed. Then, rescuers race to save a little girl who's buried alive. But first, a pulse-pounding pursuit ends in a thundering crash. When the world's most amazing videos continues.
And at Progressive, we let you compare